Hi. I'd like to start by stating that I have read the Daniel 2020 textbook in its entirety. And the first principle I want to talk about is that of beneficence. In the preamble to the American Counseling Association's Code of Ethics, beneficence is defined as working for the good of the individual and society by promoting mental health and well being. Beneficence is a concept that I feel very much in harmony with, especially as a Christ follower. My mind immediately goes to the golden rule, the scriptures that state basically, do unto others as you would have done unto you. It's about doing good to others because we all want that done to us, right? The Bible also talks about in Romans 1, verses 9 through 11, love in action. It clings to what is good. It tells us to be devoted to one another in love, honoring one another above ourselves. All these scriptures throughout the Bible are about doing good, putting others before ourselves, serving others, and it's interwoven all throughout the scriptures to do good. And the other piece of beneficence is a piece that I wasn't really familiar with until taking this class. And that's the part about working for the good of society, or basically being an advocate, the concept of advocacy that we've been learning so much about. The ACA talks about advocacy, and it says when appropriate, counselors advocate at individual, group, institutional, and societal levels. So advocacy is something that I didn't really think much about prior to my studies in this program, especially in the area of counseling or related to beneficence. And Dr. Denise Daniel, she explains that beneficence is the one core principle that takes me beyond just the client sitting in front of me. It requires me to see my client in the context of their world and moves me to change and advocate on behalf of my client. So this concept actually challenged my thinking because I honestly never thought about the counselor's role as advocate. I always thought of the advocacy part as more of a social worker's job, not a counselor. And I really wasn't very interested at first until I realized that to be an advocate is actually sometimes the best thing I can do for my client. That's the best way I can serve my client and to do the most good for them if they are in a situation where they need me to advocate for them. Dr. Daniel also notes the importance of staying up to date with the latest trends and developments in the realm of counseling in order to better help your client, in order to do the most good for the client. So I researched a little bit about advocacy and beneficence, and I found a really interesting article to me about eco wellness, or our client's connection with nature. And the author of this article explores the impacts of climate change on mental health. And she explains how this is a really important issue for us as counselors to consider advocating for. So that's exciting to me because I'm passionate about this anyway. And she talks about how when you advocate, you're not only impacting your client, but you also can impact the community, the society, and even the world at large when it's an issue such as climate change. And there are plenty of other issues, I'm sure, that as a counselor, if we find something we're really passionate about and we're helping our client and impacting the world and leaving a legacy, that's amazing. That's a win, win, win. So that got me motivated and excited about advocacy, and I came to more of a harmony about beneficence. Now, the core principle I'm still working on is veracity, or truthfully dealing with individuals with whom counselors come into professional contact. Now, I do not have a problem at all with being truthful. As a matter of fact, it's so important to me that is why I'm struggling. The conflict is surrounding my integrity, my authenticity, and my genuineness. I really have this battle raging in my mind concerning this with questions like, well, how am I supposed to tell the truth when my definition of truth is not always going to be the same as my client's? So many people in our culture believe truth to be relative. It's my truth. Whatever your truth is, just it's your truth, right? We hear that so much. But as a Christ follower, I know that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So that's my truth. So how do I behave in an ethically truthful way, exhibiting veracity, when I may know my truth is not the same as my client's truth? So the action I'm going to take to continue working through this internal conflict is, first and foremost, pray. Pray, meditate, seek God, study the scriptures about love and about the fruit of the Spirit, and remembering that this person, this client, they're a human being, they're dear to God, they're a child of God, they're created in the image of God. And I have to remind myself that Jesus loves them as much as he loves me. He died on the cross for them, no matter what they might believe to be truth. And I'm also going to educate myself on how to deal with such internal conflicts, doing more research on these areas that I may have a strong conflict of truth with certain clients. Also, I'm going to consult with other Christian counselors to inquire how they deal with these kind of issues. And I actually found some support for that decision. Clark states that when therapists struggle to work through internal conflicts, they should turn to their ethical code and seek supervision to find ways to resolve such conflicts. So that's what I'm going to do, and I trust I'll be all right.